Welcome to my book club. I just finished chapter 3 of Dream Count and I need to talk about it. Let's get into the teas. Put on this like a podcast, press the 2x button and start washing dishes because I'm about to get to yapping. Okay, let's go. Okay, so chapter 3 starts out with Chiamaka still in the picture. It's COVID and her family members are pressuring her to have a baby by IVF. They add this pressure on by saying things like, "Chia, you're running out of time," she said as soon as I stepped into the living room. "Your only option now is IVF. I know someone that just had twins at 45. This is something that her aunt says. And in terms of marriage, her prospects to her family are dwindling and dwindling. So when Chiamaka is in her 20s, they have stipulations like, the stipulations from my mother and aunts, maternal and paternal, has started in my mid-20s. Firm and fine-edged and repeated often. He must be Catholic and Igbo, have a university degree, and be able to maintain you. Maintain you was always said in English. I can relate. As a Catholic Igbo, we know, especially in our 20s, 20 to 25, the way your family will say, if he doesn't pay maximum bride price, if he doesn't pay $1 million, we no go gree. So you go into your early 20s having that vibe totally. In my mid-30s, the conditions began to wilt at the edges. My life by then rooted in America. A Christian was fine, of any denomination, a Nigerian of any ethnicity, or an African, or just a black man, or well, a man. You see the way African society feels like the older a woman gets, the less her value is? Because why are the stipulations getting less specific? Now, in my mid-40s, with my female eggs in an unforgiving rush to uselessness, marriage had become secondary. Have a child by any means. A child is more important than a marriage. Chimamanda hit the nail on the head with the full cycle of pressure Nigerian girls or African girls go through from literally once they graduate university. Have a baby. Who are you dating? What's going on? Are you going to get married? Once you get married, when are you going to have a kid? When you have one kid? When are you going to have two? When you have two? When are you going to have three? Kilo de free me. So I definitely can relate to what Chimamanda is describing, and she's literally describing the quintessential Nigerian girl experience. Then later on in chapter 3, she meets Chuka. Now let's set the scene for Chuka. We met at a Nigerian wedding in Indiana. I hadn't wanted to go, but my mother said they couldn't come and I had to represent them. Again, the respect and duty that she feels towards her family, especially her parents. Now she's in the wedding and she's describing what she's seeing. And what slim, sad pickings. Wearied men in search of a Nigerian wife. Any Nigerian wife, but preferably a nurse, because somebody somewhere had convinced Nigerians in America that nurses made good money and that men could not be nurses. Once at a wedding in Houston, I overheard a man saying, "Are you willing to train as a nurse if we go ahead?" Oh my goodness. Like I cannot believe how accurate Chimamanda is in describing the Nigerian American experience. Like I've been to parties where I've heard that before. I've talked to men that were like, "Oh, I want my wife to be a nurse because she'll have a stable job." And I'm just like, I beg, bro. I don't want to wipe no ass. I'd rather send emails. Then Chuka comes into the picture and Chimamanda describes him as this super hulking masculine man. And she goes on to describe visiting him for the first time, and this is where things take a little turn. His living room in his house in Northern Virginia reminded me of our house in Enugu. Tall leather sofa, a tan coffee table, and heavy tasseled tan curtains. I felt for a moment the strange sensation of being pursued by the past. Oh my gosh, like that description of a living room, we have all been in that living room and we all know those tassel curtains. I know what she would have felt like. Okay, like this guy is nice, he's manly, but he's definitely giving 2002 Nigerian movie vibe. It's giving us Sophia Goes to London. Anyways, but Chuka is so serious about her. You know, he knows what he wants. He's in his mid-40s. He's divorced. He's doing well. He lives in Maryland. He has his own home. So he goes on to say, "Chia, I'm too old to play games. I saw your picture on Febechi's Facebook page and told her I wanted to meet you. My intention is marriage." If you're not a Nigerian girl and you've never been through this, you would understand what Chiamaka was feeling when she describes this. "I always had imagined my choice of husband would be like my travel writing. Unusual, but not so much as to alienate my parents. Something foreign with poetry in his soul. Not a successful Igbo engineer who still shined his shoes with the Kiwi polish that everybody's father in Nigeria had used." I totally understand what she means. Sometimes you're presented with the perfect man on paper. You know, he's Igbo, from Anambra, he pays his taxes, he's doing well. But you're just like, nah, that's definitely something that's happened to me. Like, I just feel like, no, like, you're too good on paper, but there's no soul, there's no life in this relationship. But anyways, further into the relationship, Chiamaka begins to appreciate Chuka for what he is, how he's dependable, sturdy. At some points, she feels like he really does see her, even though he may not emote those things, and they have experiences where she often feels a little bit outside of the circle, but understanding that him and his friends have this very core Igbo American sort of vibe going on, and she doesn't necessarily have that, but she can appreciate it for what it is. At least it's better than Darnell's situation. Febechi's sister comes into the party, and Chiamaka can tell that her and Chuka had something at one point. She goes, the flounce in her manner, she was ignoring Chuka. That stir of defiance, even vengeance, was for Chuka. History, or more than a history? What was their story? I felt a breathless stab of jealousy. Her long, lustrous weave fell in waves to her shoulder. Her designer jeans were slightly pinched at the crotch. To douse the sudden air charged after her sister left with the glass of water, Ifeyinwa said, Chuka, Biko, come and help me open this thing. Okay, sorry, it wasn't Febechi's sister. It was Ifeyinwa's sister. And oh my gosh, definitely you know that vibe. When you see somebody that you're with and you see somebody come into the room with somebody that they knew, and you're like, my spidey senses are tingling. Something is going on here, but I don't know my place on whether to ask or not. Like when I tell you Chimamanda has hit on every single part of the Nigerian girl experience. Anyways, Chiamaka definitely did surprise me, although may not really, with canceling Chuka's engagement. I mean, I knew she wasn't fully fulfilled with him, so I wasn't so surprised. And honestly, I support the decision. No matter how safe an option looks, if your heart is really not in it, I say bounce. Okay, Chimamanda, I cannot wait to review chapter 4. Follow me and stay tuned to Cheese Book Club. Okay, bye guys.